Today, I'm going to break down the basics on how to play King Arthur in Smite, so that you can hop into game and have a bit of an idea what you're actually doing. Hello everyone, my name is Keltick, and I am here today to break down King Arthur within Smite. This video is going to cover all the basic information you will need to use King Arthur, such as what the abilities do, the basics in playstyle, and other quick notes that I have picked up over my time playing King Arthur. Now, let's start with the abilities. King Arthur has two different stances and switches between them automatically every time one of the non-ultimate abilities is fired. Each of these abilities on their own is nothing to scream at, but together they allow Arthur to do a ton of damage and weave in and about fights. I'm going to call these stances Blue Stance and Orange Stance, because that's the color the ability markers take on when you're in each respective stance. Starting with the passive, every single time King Arthur hits an enemy god with an ability, he gains a stack of damage mitigation and increases his energy gain. Now don't worry, I am going to cover energy in about a minute, but to finish up with the passive, it can stack up to 4 times and the buff lasts about 15 seconds. Now, the first ability. In Blue Stance, this is a line attack that is broken up into 2 segments. Both segments deal damage, but anything that gets hit in the segment closest to Arthur is going to be dealt another additional X% in bonus damage. In Orange Stance, this ability is a large cone that deals damage and cripples all enemies hit. Second ability. In Blue Stance, Arthur just stomps the ground, which deals damage and slows all enemies hit. In Orange Stance, Arthur is going to charge forward, dealing damage and knocking up enemies in an area around where he first makes contact with a god. Third ability. In Blue Stance, Arthur just dashes forward and deals a little bit of damage, but in Orange Stance, Arthur whirls around repeatedly, dealing ticking damage and winding up to deal a devastating final blow. Arthur is knock up, knockback, slow, root, and pull immune while he is swinging around. Now for the ultimate. The ultimate also has 2 different forms depending on how much energy Arthur has gained. Now, energy is simply gained by hitting enemies with abilities or the auto attacks, and this amount of energy gain can be amplified by having his passive stacked or by having attack speed in his build. If Arthur has between 35 and 79 energy, this ultimate will cause Arthur to stomp forward, stunning all enemies in a line for 1 second, and this costs 35 energy. At 80 energy, the ultimate changes to be a charging line attack that, when connected with an enemy god, will take that enemy up into the air to be slashed around and smacked about. Now, Arthur's ultimate only has a 20-second internal cooldown, but you are going to need to have enough energy to keep casting the ultimate abilities. Okay, now that we're done with the abilities, it's time to fill in the blanks. Now, Arthur is going to be an ability spamming warrior that can take over games with a lead, but they do tend to struggle in both the arena game mode and when behind, just due to the nature of needing to spam abilities. In general, you want to look to get Arthur in solo, and you want to look to spam abilities and just try to get ahead where you can. He's a very good boxer. Just make sure you're building Soul Eater or some other sustain option, since now that Glad Shield has been gutted, he tends to be in an awkward spot. Now, Arthur also does have a non-conventional auto attack sequence. He simply does a lunge forward in an inputted direction and then deals a cleaving strike to all enemies in the area. For this reason, Arthur does not benefit from attack speed, and any built attack speed simply increases the amount of energy Arthur will gain by playing the game. Now, the most important thing to note here is Arthur's auto attacks cannot be crippled. And when you are not crippled, you can also weave together the dashes from the auto attacks with Arthur's many dashing abilities to quickly move around the battlefield and get back to lane faster and all that fun stuff. Now, this is done simply by firing off an ability the moment the dash from the auto attack has been triggered. If you wait too long, the post-auto attack movement speed slow will take effect, but you can cancel this slow by firing an ability, allowing you to become speed itself. Now, the next note you should probably be aware of is that every single ability Arthur fires is on instant casting. This is intended and is not changeable. You are going to need to get used to full committing to each button press when you're playing King Arthur. Now, finally, something I am going to do in each new god guide from here on out is to show off a build that may differ from one I put in the How to Build Every God video. For Arthur, I recommend building what I put on screen right now, and I will put the specific names and spelling of the items in the description text for those of you that are interested. And that is the basics on how to play King Arthur. If you're new here, subscribe to this channel. I'm all about teaching you Smite, and it helps me out a lot. Or if you want to keep learning Smite with me right now, click that video on your screen, and I'm going to see you there.